Hey guys, oh, hold on. Sorry, I don't know yeah, whatever. Okay, my neck is stiff. I'm here today to do my weekly update, which I forgot to do this past weekend. I am currently uploading my vlog, so you'll probably have seen me talk about these if you watch both of the videos, but I just wanted to mention it kind of concisely, I guess, in one video. I am going to talk about like how I'm doing on my challenges and stuff in my monthly wrap-up. Also, I wanted to ask, not that many people commented on my wrap-up last month, and I'm just wondering, is it because it was too long? I did my books and like other stuff in one video. Would you prefer as a viewer to have those be two separate videos? One a book wrap-up and one like a movies, magazines, and podcast wrap-up? Would you let me know? Because, I mean, you know, it's nice to know what your preference is. Okay, so I finished This Is Where I Leave You this past week. This was just fine. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. The premise is, you know, like a guy's dad has died, and the dad's last request is for his family to sit Shiva, which is like 7 days of mourning, basically, and so he has to spend all this time with his brothers and sister, and his mom, and their family doesn't like get along that much. Plus, his wife has just left him, or I guess I should say he walked in on his wife cheating on him, and so they have split up because of that. The book is quite good. I think like the topics and themes that are discussed, I think, are really interesting, but it is extremely superficial. Also, at the same time, there's so many adjectives describing people's bodies: saggy, tight, smooth, you know, all these words, and it's just like, he's too obsessed with the physicality of the other human beings around him, and it really, like, I gave this 3 stars. It's like a 3.5, but I definitely rounded down because of that. It got on my nerves a little bit too much. And it is really nice, though, because he kind of comes to terms with, I feel like, in general, we have, like, it's really easy to criticize others or to, like, find faults in other people, but it's kind of hard to find faults in ourselves. And I feel like during this book, he kind of, like, comes to the realization that maybe he's not, like, as innocent as he thinks he is with regards to, like, all of the poor relationships that he has. So that was good that he came to that realization, but it was just like the body talk was a little bit too much for me. I also tried to read Guilty Pleasures by Laurel K. Hamilton. This is is a book that my friend really, like, she loved the series when I was in high school, I think, or maybe like just after high school. One of my really close friends, she loved this series, and so I was like, oh, let me try it, because, this is when I was reading, the Anne Rice books, and what's it called? The Sookie Stackhouse books and all that kind of stuff. But it's just not my style at all now. I might have liked this back then, but I'll never know now. So I DNF'd it after about 5 pages. I just don't care at all. So those are the things that I have finished. I also read a couple of short stories from this short story collection, The Piano Tuner by Tim Gautreaux and The Tumblers by Nathan Englander. I think those are the only 2 that I read this past week. Maybe I read Kansas by Stephen Dobbins also. I'll try to link these stories below. So good. So good. Tumblers is about a group of Jewish people that are, it's like during World War II, and I think they're living in the ghetto, and then they're supposed to get on a train to go to a concentration camp, but then they get on the wrong train, and they end up going to be like performers for some kind of like Nazi, some higher ups like in the Nazi regime, and so they're kind of like freaking out because they're not acrobats, so they try to learn how to be tumblers. My cats are losing their minds. It is so melancholic and dark, and the ending is just really heartbreaking. Again, I'll try to find these stories and link them below. And then the other one that I just finished last night is The Piano Tuner by Tim Gautreaux, and this one is also quite melancholic. Our main kind of narrator is a piano tuner, and he's going to tune this woman's piano that lives kind of like in the middle of nowhere, and she's, you know, depressed. She lives by herself. Her parents have passed away. Her piano is not very good, but because of like the quality of her house, she can't really, and it's such a heavy piano, she can't like get rid of it, and she tries to play piano for these like at kind of like a jazz club or like a nightclub kind of thing, and it is also very beautiful, very melancholic. Like all of these are kind of like, you know, just they hit you hard. Shirley, get down. Okay. This video is so long, sorry. I did start the Mandys Folk Snakish. This is very good so far. This is by Andrus Kivirak, and it's translated by Christopher Mosley. This is a very fantastical, like fairyland, fairy tale-esque about, you know, Estonian people that live like in the woods and can speak Snakish, so they can communicate with snakes and different animals, and how like the Iron Men, I think is what they call them, are not trying to, but there are people that are going to live in the village that are trying to like get rid of these ways, and so it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm not that far into it, but that's the vibe so far, which is really good. And I did start Queen Sugar also, and I kind of want to DNF this. This is by Natalie Bazile. The only reason I'm not DNFing this is because the ratings or the reviews on Goodreads are quite positive. Like usually, like I'll start a book, and if it's not really my thing, I will look at Goodreads to see what other people have said. And a lot of them talk about how the descriptions of how to grow sugarcane is really, really interesting. So I am going to finish reading it because of that, or at least try to continue on because of that. And it is quite an easy read, but it is like way too contemporary and like, I don't want to say sappy, but kind of, it reminds me of like a Sweet Home Alabama type book, like a city girl goes to, you know, the sugarcane plantation that her father owned, and like she doesn't know how to work it, and so she's gonna have to try to find someone to help her, and I don't know, it's just like just too contemporary for me personally, and it's so overly descriptive that the adjectives are just like flying out of everywhere. Let me see if I can find an example. I probably can't. I need to like make a note, but it is way too descriptive. There are too many adjectives, too many adverbs, too many of those things, and it just, that kind of writing really grates on me. But I will keep giving it a go because why not? Those are basically the only things that I read this week, besides this article in the New Yorker about marijuana, which I didn't really enjoy that much, called Unwatched Pot by Malcolm Gladwell. That's by Malcolm Gladwell? I didn't even pay attention. But, you know, I don't want to say it was boring, but kind of just like, you know, we don't know the effects of pot. Okay. Whatever. So, yeah, let me know. I'm going to keep reading these things. I'm not adding anything new to the mix this week. So let me know if you have read any of these books, and if you have anything to say, that would be cool. I'll talk to you guys later. Oh,